this is tough. And everybody knows it. Bill Moody, the Paul Bearer character that we've all fallen in love with in WWE for so many years, went on a famous wrestling message board at the time called Wrestling Classics. And he wrote this about the segment. I am horrified. I never thought I would ever be proud to say that I do not work for Vince McMahon any longer. This feels like a company that at this point, Jim, 20 years ago, had lost its way a little bit. And it's easy from the outside looking in to say, well, what's different from 02 to 01? Well, there's no competition. There's no WCW and there's no ECW. And we've gone public a few years ago. So most of the major players have probably, now made the financial moves to be set for life. It feels as if, I don't know, without a challenge, Vince just leaned into the lowest common denominator. I don't even know how we get to a necrophilia angle.
I don't either. Yeah. I don't know what his motivation was. I guess we could figure that out. He wants ratings,
right? And
ratings translate into dollars. And when you're a publicly traded company, that's the old Stone Cold line, and that's the bottom line. So I don't know. Sometimes I thought, well, he's trying to reinvent himself. He's trying to bring himself into the future, maybe. I don't know. Every time you try to come up with a solution or an answer, Conrad, it falls short. It falls short. So it was probably one of the worst. I don't know if I've ever seen or been a party to worse creative. I know there was, in Dallas had the Fritz von Erich heart attack, and there's all kinds of things like that went on over the years.
Right.
Nothing on this level because of the exposure, the overlay of USA Network. More people saw this shit than and seen the other things. So it was amazing. It was amazing. And I'm just glad Katie Vick didn't have a sister.
Oh man, me and you too. It's unbelievable when you think about, the idea that this ever got on TV is just crazy. But let's remind everybody that right before this, the month prior, is when this HLA, the hot lesbian action stuff, really becomes a big deal on TV. So we're trying just all these crazy, outrageous, almost Jerry Springer-esque type of angles to get some attention for ourselves. And well, it's just not working. Something else that's not working is 3-minute warning. Apparently, 1 week when they attacked Pat Patterson, Jamal accidentally hurt Pat. I don't think anybody would intentionally hurt Pat, but
no.
The next week, well, he's got to be punished, and we're going to do it on TV. So we're going to see Big Show defeat Rosie, Jamal, and Rico in a 3-1. And Meltzer called it Jamal's punishment for hurting Pat Patterson. Do you remember that? There being heat on Jamal for accidentally hurting Pat?
Nothing to this extreme.
Yeah.
It was just Pat was older and he shouldn't have been in there doing that shit anyway. Jamal has known Pat Patterson Jamal's entire life. So there was no heat. There's no issue. It was just a mistake. And so I don't know if it was punishment or not. I didn't dislike the 3-minute warning gimmick. You hope that one of those guys will spin out and become a star. That was the idea. Generally is with the heel faction. You want somebody to bolt, become bigger than they were before they arrived. So I didn't dislike that situation. But it's just, again, it's a pile-on thing. And I don't know. I didn't have a problem with the 3-minute warning, the gimmick, but I don't think Patterson was, I don't think Pat was hurt badly.
Right. No.
Bruised up a little bit or jarred a little bit or whatever you want to say. And I'm not just throwing it off like it doesn't mean anything. I love Pat. I miss him to this very day. He would be, if Pat Patterson were alive today, I can only imagine his sentiments on today's product of the business that he helped build, quite frankly.
No doubt. So listen, Kane and RVD are going to team up to take on Flair and Triple H. They go 12 minutes and 21 seconds. And of course, you're still trying to get this angle over. And Meltzer would even say this: Jim Ross was apparently being paid a bonus every time he used the words semen and necrophilia. Now, of course, he's saying that tongue in cheek, but this is the era where you've got the old man in your ear the entire night. And he oftentimes focuses on that main event and wants you to hammer that main event, or at least we've heard as fans.
Yeah.
Are these things that he's saying to you now, Jim? You got to make sure you get over it. Semen and necrophilia.
Yeah. What did they say? I want you to work semen into your presentation or necrophilia. I kept thinking about, that how many households were forced into a situation where daddy or mom has got to explain to a kid what a lesbian is, hot lesbian action. What does that mean? Necrophilia. Okay, mommy, what's that? What are you going to do to a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old kid? It's having sex with a dead person. Then that dialogue goes to another road, and it's not healthy. It's not good. It's uncomfortable. I don't think that's like, you wonder how many kids stop watching Raw or forced to stop watching Raw with grandpa and grandma. Because now they got to be the one to explain this insanity. It was just, it was crazy, Connie, really crazy. We keep trying to find some redeeming quality.
Yeah.
There are none. So quit looking. There are none.
Well, the SmackDown show, of course, has Michael Cole on the call, and he's trying to put over the Undertaker-Lesnar match. And supposedly, you tell Michael Cole, as you're trying to coach him up, so to speak, put over this Lesnar-Undertaker match as one of the most violent matches in WWE history. And Cole asked about the verbiage, because supposedly the company is banned from using the word violent on their broadcasts. I guess you guys talk about it, and Cole winds up referring to the match as one of the most intense and disturbing matches in WWE history.
And that works.
But here's what's fascinating to me. The message comes down from on high. All right, guys, we can't say violent on the program anymore. Now, don't forget to work in semen and necrophilia.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, no shit.
The word violent belongs in a pro wrestling program. I could argue the other words never do.
Correct. I agree with you. 100%. 100% I agree with you. So, yeah, it was just, Vince booked us on a box, and his box didn't have any doors. The windows were locked. There's no way to get out of it unless just blow up the house. And, thank God it didn't last forever. But hey, you were mentioning about the 3-minute warning and their situation with the Big Show. I believe, I might be wrong, and of course, Paul Wight still works for AEW. See him occasionally. But man, we never, WWE and myself never booked him well.
Right.
We overexposed, and they said, well, what do you mean by that? What specifically do you mean by that, JR? He was overexposed. You cannot, if you're an amateur booker out there, or you're doing, any form of administrative planning in pro wrestling, you can't overexpose an attraction, because guess what? They cease being an attraction. They're not new. They're not fresh. They're not different. They're not eye-opening. So that's just another example of that deal, because we just essentially destroyed those other 3 guys. And I don't think there was a need for that. But nonetheless, that was just a thought that popped in my head. I just think that Big Show was one of the most ill-booked talents on that level that we ever had.